Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Zach, and this is the Why Would You Think That podcast. Hope you're doing well. Week 5 of the NFL is not totally in the books. We still have Tuesday night football tonight, but I'm going to break down Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night football. So as we do in our Around the League segment, I'm going to break down each of the games, give my own personal opinion. We'll start in chronological order. We'll go Thursday night, Bucks at the Bears. Bears win 20-19. I was really excited to watch the game. Wasn't too excited as the game went along, and wasn't impressed at all by either of the teams. Bears not able to run the ball at all. Bucks had a little bit of success with Ronald Jones. Really only had one big run of 37 yards. Bears' longest rush was for 7 yards with David Montgomery. For the Bucks, penalties killed them all game. They had 11 or 12 penalties for 114 yards. Really hurt them. Nick Foles wasn't really good for the Bears. Made a couple of timely throws to help them get or make big plays when they needed them. Had the big wheel route to David Montgomery to help set up the game-winning field goal. I really didn't understand the Bears' play calling. With it was 2nd and 9 deep in Tampa Bay territory. There was 1 minute 28 seconds to go, and the Tampa Bay Bucks had one timeout yet left, and they threw the ball to Allen Robinson, and it was incomplete, therefore stopping the clock. And then it gave Tom Brady a little more than a minute to try and go down and win the game there. Didn't understand that at all. Bears pass rush made an appearance finally this season. Khalil Mack had 2 sacks in the second half. The team had 3 sacks and 8 quarterback hits all game. So that was a little impressive since they've been pretty non-existent this season and the second half of last season as well. Both teams scored 6 points respectively in the second half. Mid-third quarter, you saw the one play where there's two holding penalties, and it backed the Bucks up to 1st and 30 after a good drive into Chicago territory. Ended up being 3rd and 27, and they didn't convert. I didn't think Tom Brady stepped up in the pocket enough. That's his kind of signature move. When the pass rushers come around the edges, he kind of steps up in the pocket, makes a throw. He kind of drifted a little bit and stayed in place. Feet were kind of nailed to the floor on that one. That's how Khalil Mack got his 2 sacks. He just didn't step into the pocket like he normally does. This could be a crucial NFC win head to head. I don't believe in either of these teams, but with the Bears keep winning and the Bucks keep winning, this could be a crucial head to head victory for the Bears. Obviously, you had the one play at the end of the game where Tom Brady didn't know what down it was, holding up the four fingers. I thought that was really funny in my opinion. And then Bucks, looking ahead a little bit, Bucks potentially have two tough games and really a potential 3 out of 4 game stretch coming up that could be really tough. They bring in the Packers, one of the highest scoring offense, the highest scoring offense, but they just had their bye, so it doesn't really count. Then they go to the Raiders. They bring in the Giants. I think that won't be very difficult at all. And then they bring in the Saints. So you're looking at a 3 out of 4 game stretch where it could be really tough for the Tampa Bay Bucks. All right, moving on. Carolina at Atlanta. Carolina wins 23-16. Falcons' run game looked really good. Didn't take advantage in the play action game. Matt Ryan had an awful pick in the end zone in the second half to really seal the Falcons' fate. Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff, the head coach, general manager duo, got fired uh, after the game. It looks like Raheem Morris is going to take over for the interim coach for the Falcons. Panthers gaining a lot of confidence under Matt Rule. They've won 3 in a row without Christian McCaffrey. Teddy Bridgewater is getting the ball to all of his weapons. They showed a spray chart or a chart of how each of his receivers were each getting receptions, getting it to Mike Davis, getting it to DJ Moore, getting it to Robbie Anderson, and really just kind of playing point guard and spreading the ball around to his playmakers. Carolina now tied at the top of the NFC South division. All right, moving on. I'm going to make this one really quick because there's not a whole lot to talk about. Cincinnati at Baltimore. Baltimore wins 27-3. Ravens got a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow all day, whether it was four-man rushes, bringing a blitz of 5, 6, 7 guys. Didn't really matter. Burrow didn't have time to breathe. Room to breathe, that is. Bengals offense looks non-existent. You saw the one video after the game of A.J. Green saying, and tried really hard to read his lips, saying, if you're not going to use me, then trade me. Ravens were really methodical on offense. Uh, really didn't have to do a whole lot. Got a couple turnovers, had the scoop and score for the defense to get them a score. So Ravens win 27-3. We'll move on. Jacksonville at Houston. Houston wins 30-14. Houston defense gets its first takeaway of the season. Deshaun Watson able to get a good connection to Cooks and Fuller, getting a couple touchdowns to Cooks, one to Fuller, getting his playmakers involved a little bit. Jags had an awful play call, 4th and 1, deep in the Texans' territory, where it's a direct snap to James Robinson, tries to go around the entire defense and then fumbles it. Doesn't work. For Houston, they in a bigger picture, they get their first win. Jaguars drop 4 straight after winning the opener against the Colts. I think Houston is still in contention to win this division. I don't think this division is very good. I don't trust the Colts with Phillip Rivers' play this season. Titans, I think, are a little bit of a fraud, even though they are undefeated and they will play tonight. But I think Houston isn't completely dead in the water. All right, we'll move on. One of maybe the most fun game that we watched over the weekend. Las Vegas at Kansas City. Vegas wins 40-32. Raiders come out slinging it. They went bombs away with a deep touchdown to Ruggs in the first half. The 59-yard touchdown to Nelson Aguilar, who's played really well in his new home in Las Vegas. Raiders were really patient with the run game and then helped set up the vertical passing attack of the bombs away approach. Had another deep bomb to Hunter Renfrow in the second half. Uh, Chiefs really not able to get their passing game going mid-second half after the Raiders stopped blitzing. That was really the key. Once the Raiders stopped blitzing in the second quarter, the Chiefs passing game really had a lot of struggles with getting people open. No matter how much time Patrick Mahomes bought in the pocket, he still couldn't find any open receivers, and that was really the key. And they got a lot of pressures on Patrick Mahomes, even with their 3 and 4 man rushes. He took a huge hit by Max Crosby, the defensive lineman for the Raiders. I think that really started to affect him. Derek Carr plays really, really well with the bombs away approach, letting it loose, getting the ball to Darren Waller eventually. And the Raiders stayed really patient with the run game in the second half to try and make sure that they didn't lose themselves in the passing game and keep the game in front of them, essentially. So, big win for the Raiders. I think they are a serious contender to make the playoffs. They are 3-2. And they're really, with that win over the Chiefs, they keep themselves in contention to win the division. I don't think they will, but it does. For right now, they're in contention. All right, Arizona at the New York Jets. Cardinals bounce back after losing 2 in a row. They win 30-10. Joe Flacco gets the start for the injured Sam Darnold. Cardinals showed a little bit more balance running the football, able to get the ball downfield in the passing game too. Just really able to beat up on maybe the worst team in football. Bounce back 3-2. All right, Philadelphia at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh wins 38-29. Carson Wentz had a critical turnover that really kind of swung the game. Third quarter, it gave them if he hadn't done that, the Steelers really only would have scored the late touchdown with Claypool in the second half. Breakout game for the rookie Chase Claypool, had 4 touchdowns. Big game. Pittsburgh gets to 4-0 for the first time since 1979. Philly really desperately, they really just need to get people back, to be honest with you. They need to get Alshon Jeffrey back. They need to get Deshaun Jackson back. And they need Lane Johnson, their offensive lineman, back, because Carson Wentz is just having to do so much, even though he still has Ertz and Goddard and the breakout guy Fulcrum. And Miles Sanders is still there, but it's not a whole lot else in the passing game to really help this offense along. They just need to get people back, and they are still very much in contention to win their division because their division is just complete garbage. But Pittsburgh 4-0. They go on to play the Cleveland Browns next week. I'm very, very excited to watch that game. All right, we'll move on. Rams at Washington. Biggest story. Alex Smith, really, really great story. He makes his comeback to the NFL after Kyle Allen gets hurt. Alex Smith went through 17 leg surgeries after his gruesome injury in 2018. And I don't mean to be disrespectful with this, but it's like, how much has Dwayne Haskins fallen out of favor with this organization? Because Kyle Allen didn't look good before he got hurt. Alex Smith only has 30 yards passing in the game. doesn't do much in his return, even though Haskins had a really, really good game last week. It just kind of seems like he is on his way out the door for the Redskins, and it just goes beyond his playing style, really, I guess. Rams get the blowout win. Sean McVay gets the win against his former employer, as he was the Washington offensive coordinator when Kirk Cousins was there. And then they keep pace with the Seahawks, even though they are one game behind. You still have to keep winning games to try and stick in the Seahawks realm for the NFC West. Miami at San Francisco. Jeremy G plays awful, gets benched at halftime. Dolphins play a really complete game. They have come close in every single game this year. They have not gotten blown out. They kept it really close with the Patriots, kept it close with the Seahawks. Really have played good football this season, in my opinion, and they blew out the San Francisco 49ers. Ryan Fitzpatrick keeps Tua on the bench for the next week at least because he played really, really well, completing a bunch of passes. They were able to run the football. Their defense had some takeaways. 49ers moved 0-3 at home this season, 2-0 at MetLife Stadium, which is where the Jets and Giants play. Miami wins 43-17. Moving on. Indianapolis at Cleveland. This is one of the more fun games to watch as well. Cleveland wins 32-23. Cleveland not able to get the run game going at first. Their offense is what was really good in the first half. Baker Mayfield played really good. They were able to get good high completion percentage passes to Hooper. Jarvis Landry had a big game in the first half. Odell Beckham Jr. threw a pass to Austin Hooper in the first half. Second half, a different story. The Browns offense really carried them in the first half. Browns defense carried the Browns in the second half. Baker had two just terrible picks. Phillip Rivers played awful most of the game. He had a pick six, another pick. Colts scored 6 points offensively in the second half. Really, at one point, the Browns had a 17-point cushion. The safety in the end zone was also Phillip Rivers' fault. He allowed Myles Garrett to have a straight-on rush to Phillip Rivers. Intentional grounding gave them the safety. Browns keep pace with the Ravens and Steelers at 4-1, and the AFC North is turning it into maybe in contention for the best division in football. All right, Giants at Dallas. Dallas wins 37-34. Obviously, the gruesome injury to Dak Prescott. Wishing him well. Scary ankle injury. But football-wise, they played really well on offense all game. Defense had a scoop and score on the strip fumble by Daniel Jones. Andy Dalton was able to come in, lead them down the field, and ice the game with the game-winning field goal. Giants moved to 0-5. Daniel Jones again has a turnover. And it's just kind of the question of how far can the Cowboys go with Andy Dalton. I think they can win this division, considering how bad the division is with the likes of the Giants, who they just beat, Washington, and the Eagles. I think they have enough playmakers for Andy Dalton to just consistently get the ball to the likes of Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. And if they can learn to pound the rock a little bit to keep their defense off the field, I don't think the Cowboys are in as much trouble as someone might just look from the outside in. All right, Minnesota at Seattle Sunday Night Football. Vikings dominate the first half. They go into halftime 13-0. Dalvin Cook gets injured in the third quarter, completely flips the game around. Seahawks just rip off 21 straight points. Really, the story I came away with is you can hold the MVP down, but you can't stop him. You can delay him, but Russ will always come and get you. Russell Wilson was 15 of 15 until 32 seconds left in the third quarter. I did agree with Mike Zimmer's call to go for it late, deep in Seattle territory. If they get a first down on the 4th and 1, they end the game. They don't. Seattle goes down, scores a touchdown, and make it 27-26. They didn't get the 2-point. Seattle moves to 5-0, and Russell Wilson just continues to play extremely well without a whole lot of help from his defense, from his run game. His offensive line isn't as good as people would think. But yet here they are, Russ carrying his team to 5-0. All right, we'll go Monday Night Football, and this is where we'll leave off. Chargers at New Orleans. Justin Herbert continues to shine in the bright lights, playing really, really well. You can just tell with how Drew Brees is playing that the Saints offense is just extremely limited in their capabilities of pushing the football down the field. Really, 10 yards is the max. Chargers haven't been totally derailed by injuries. Chargers at one point have a 17-point lead in the second quarter, and they haven't really finished games. I mean, they kept talking on the broadcast how the losses have all been within 7 points. Second half, they go into halftime with a 20-10 lead, only score 7 points in the second half. Missed the potentially game-winning field goal late in the game. I understand that, but I think that you can't blame the kicker on that, considering your offense doesn't do a whole lot in the second half. And Saints win in overtime. Saints move to 3-2. 30. They win 30-27. I think Chargers still can. They just need to learn how to finish games, and maybe when Austin Eckler comes back, that's still a couple weeks away. But they just need to learn to run the football, not be so conservative. You can run the football, but still have an aggressiveness to you, and the Chargers just have not done that. They've gotten really, really tight with it once they've gotten the lead and they see it start to slip away. They just really tighten up on offense and they don't allow themselves to still throw the ball, which is what got them the lead. All right, so that is our roundup. I will do a breakdown of Bills Titans, which is Tuesday Night Football, in a little bit. And this week I'm going to start previewing the week ahead, considering there is no Thursday Night Football. I'm going to do a preview of Week 6 games and how I think they're going to shake out. So this is Zach. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, like, it will help the channel out a lot. And this is the Why Would You Think That podcast around the league.